I'm going to show you how to make my very special gluten-free vegan bread. I've not actually shared this recipe with anyone before. It is free from gluten, it's free from all animal products, and it doesn't even contain xantham gum or yeast, and it's absolutely delectable. So one thing that I would like to tell you about this recipe is that it's important to stick to the recipe. A lot of the recipes I make are quite forgiving if you deviate from the actual ingredient list, and I encourage that with most of my recipes, but with gluten-free baking you often have to stick to it to a T. So explore and have fun. Let's get started. Okay, so I've got all the ingredients together. I've popped my oven on to gas mark 5. I'm going to do the measurement conversions for you if you go check out the recipe on my website. I'm also using grams and that kind of measurement so that we can be accurate, although I have converted on my website recipe page to cups for you, although I can't guarantee the accuracy of cups. Grams we can, so let's go. All right, we're going to start off with 4 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a kind of a substitute egg sort of thing with flaxseed and water. So I'm going to take 175 milliliters of water, pop it in with the flaxseed, and I'm going to do this right at the beginning before I do anything else. And I'm just going to whisk it around with a fork. And then I'm just going to pop that to the side just to thicken over the next few minutes while we do the rest of the recipe. Okay, so what else do we have? I have 200 grams of oatmeal. This is actually ground oats or oat flour. I have 75 grams of coconut flour. Now, it's really great to use coconut flour if you can get it. I know that if I run out of coconut flour, I do sometimes substitute with potato starch, but coconut flour is just going to give it this really wonderful alchemy. So 75 grams of coconut flour, 100 grams of millet flour. Now, I've just taken regular millet that I bought from the health food store and ground it down into a fine meal. And I did that with my nut mill, but I also often use my food processor. I also ground the oats down, by the way. I took regular oats, just ground them down in my food processor until they made a nice fine meal. 50 grams of tapioca starch, a nice teaspoon of sea salt. Now I do like to buy Atlantic sea salt. 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Now this kind of technically makes it soda bread, which is what you do when you make bread with bicarbonate of soda, which is also called baking soda in the US. That gives it this kind of airiness, more of a cakiness actually, which is wonderful. All right, let's see how that flax and water is doing. Starting to have more of an egg-like consistency. I like to use that in the recipe to help bind it together, which is particularly helpful in gluten-free baking. So I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients together before I add the wet ingredients. Sort of make a little well in the middle. Right, time for the wet ingredients. So I'm going to add this flax and water mixture, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, and the coconut is melted because coconut oil solidifies at room temperature. 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Now the apple cider vinegar is quite important. It reacts with the bicarbonate of soda to help it get that bubbly rise. Give that a little bit of a mix in. Add 250 milliliters of water. Right, here we go. Really want to give this a good mix in until everything is thoroughly combined. So take a minute or two to do that, and if everything is not sticking together as you'd like it to, then get your hands in there. Give it a good mix. Now, The consistency, it's going to be slightly moist, but it should all stick together nicely. A little bit of sticking to your hands. We're not making regular bread here, so it's not going to act in exactly the same way. So if you've actually followed the recipe and stuck to the ingredients, they should all be coming together to perfection. And I know we're not all good at following recipes. I'm not, unless it's my own recipe that I'm testing. So a bit of discipline there. Follow the recipe, and then in no time you should have a nice big mixture of slightly sticky dough. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop it into a parchment lined, just use regular parchment paper. If you have these fancy little ones that are specially made for loaf tins, use them. I like to use Pyrex oven proof glass for mine. You can also use a regular tin. Just make sure you line it. That just helps it pop out really easily. Pop it in and then push it down reasonably even, and then pop it in your preheated oven for 45 minutes. Okay, this is a really easy recipe if you have all the ingredients, but the most difficult part of the recipe, I will warn you now, is that once it's baked for 45 minutes you have to wait, and that is really hard because the aroma of the bread will just fill your entire kitchen and you'll just want to dive right in. But if you dive right in, the risk is that it will crumble. Now you can leave it for a little while and cut it, and you might be all right, but I would recommend that you just let it cool down, be patient, and then see. Now I actually only let this cool down for a little bit, but I'm going to see anyway how it is. Okay, so I'm using a sharp bread knife and I'm holding it firmly. Oh, wow. There we go. There we go. Slight little bit of crumbling on the top. A really beautiful doughy consistency in the middle. Oh, yes. So what you might find is there might be a little bit of crumbling. Usually on the top. I've actually flipped it upside down too, so this looks absolutely amazing. I'm just gonna bite a little nibble off there. Oh my goodness me. Try not to speak with my mouth full. Okay. If you don't eat gluten, then this is going to be a really nice treat for you. So remember, it goes really well with soup. It makes a nice open sandwich bread, and you can just put like almond butter and jam or jelly on top and enjoy. It's been wonderful to share this recipe with you guys today. My secret bread is now out for everyone to see. I hope that you enjoy it as much as we do here. If you like what you see, please do give this video a thumbs up. Come subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can stay updated with all my new recipes. Visit my website, trinityskitchen.com, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.